Hello, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys history blog. I'm brand new at this. I know that the graphics and other things regarding this video are not going to be really great up front, but with your help and suggestions, I will try and make them better. I do hope that you will subscribe to the channel, that you tell your Cowboys friends and family about it, and you'll share, that you'll comment and do everything you can to help me grow the channel. I plan to do at least 2 videos per week. This is the first one. It's starting a little later than I intended. I actually wanted to get it started yesterday, but had some technical difficulties. The reason for wanting to start it yesterday was because it was Veterans Day, and I wanted to bring up something for you. The Dallas Cowboys, to me, are the most fascinating team in the NFL. I'm a historian of the NFL. Love all history about the NFL, and to me, the Cowboys are the most fascinating. And as such, I'll try and defend that in this blog series, and introduce something that's new and hopefully fascinating to you each week. That I do something. And I want to start with the fact that at one time the blue jerseys were considered a curse. There was no blue jersey curse. Another time there was belief in the Jimmy Johnson curse, that because Jimmy Johnson was not in the Ring of Honor, the Cowboys were being cursed. That I don't believe that to be true either. But there is something that I do believe, and that is this. Um, 1970, 1971, 1975, 1977, and 1978 seasons, we had someone from the Naval Academy on the football team. 1992, 1993, and 1995, we had somebody from the Air Force Academy on the football team. They call this team America's team. Bob Ryan of NFL Films gave them that nickname. But one of the things that has always made it America's team to me wasn't the winning. It was the fact that we had people from the service academies on the team. Um, and when we win Super Bowls, there are members of the service academies on the football team. That's what's missing, in my opinion. It's hard to be America's team without America's veterans on the team. Um, you can also blame Rowdy, who showed up in 1996. That's when the current 29-year going on 30-year drought started. If you want to, that's fine. This blog isn't going to be about my opinions. I'm not going to share with you what I think of what Jerry Jones said most of the time. This is going to be about stats and facts, things that aren't really in dispute or are up for debate. So let me share with you a couple things. I mentioned veterans. Dallas Cowboys are the only team in the NFL that have a hero on the team that was in all four branches of the service: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and in World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, and Operation Desert Storm. Real quickly, World War II. That was Tom Landry. Tom Landry was a bombardier pilot in a B-25 during World War II. He was in the Army Air Corps, which later became the Army Air Force, or the U.S. Air Force. Um, Korean War. Eddie LeBaron was a Marine. Fought in the Korean War. He was known. His nickname was the Little General. Vietnam. Roger Staubach, Navy, served actively, and Cliff Harris, Army Reserves, or National Guard, excuse me, also served actively during the Vietnam War. And then, of course, Chad Hennings was an A-10 Warthog pilot for the United States Air Force in the Operation Desert Storm. So all four major services. I don't know about the Coast Guard. I should look that up. And all four of the major wars that our country has fought in the last century, not including World War One. But at any rate, I think that that's an important distinction, and we should have a veteran on the team. Maybe we need a cowboy too. We had Walt Garrison for a while, and then we had Jay Novacek. They were real Cowboys, not just um, the mascot name. So maybe there's something to that too. But the veteran status, really, to me, is an important lacking function here. Okay, in NFL history, 1924, there was a team called the Kansas City Blues, and they became in 1925 they became the Kansas City Cowboys, and they were also the Cowboys in 1926. That was the first NFL team that had the mascot named Cowboys. In 1952, a textile merchant named Giles Miller brought the NFL New York Yanks to Texas as the first pro team in Texas. They were the Dallas Texans, 1952. They began in 1944 as the Boston Yanks, stayed there in Boston until 1948, moved to New York in 1949 as the Boston Bulldog or as the New York Bulldogs, and then in 1950 and 51 they were the Yanks. In 1952, the NFL draft was held. The Yanks were making the picks. If you go back at NFL draft history, you'll see the Yanks making picks. 12 days later, that team, the Yanks, became the Dallas Texans. They folded after just 7 games into 1952 and became a traveling team, essentially owned by the NFL. Ironically, their only win that year was against the Chicago Bears, one of the all-time great franchises in NFL history, but not in 1952. The Texans' colors were royal blue and white. That's an important distinction. They were the last NFL team to go defunct. Between 1953 to 1960, the NFL did not add any teams, and so they were the last NFL team to go defunct. The original Dallas Texans had an ardent fan in Dallas by the name of Clint Murkison Jr. He was the heir of a huge oil business owned by his father, and he wanted an NFL team and began in earnest trying to do everything he could to secure one or acquire one. He tried buying the Texans. Um, that didn't work. As I said, they went defunct, and the NFL folded the team. He even tried to buy the team that would later be his main rival, Washington. I call them the White Chickens. I'll explain to you in a future video why I call them the White Chickens, but Washington. He tried to buy them. Can you imagine Washington being the first team in Dallas? Um, that's what he was trying to do, and instead, on December 21st, 1959, Tom Landry was hired as the future head coach of an NFL team that was going to be owned by Murkison, Bradford Wynn, who was a minority partner, some other minor partners, and it was going to be run by general manager and president Tex Schramm. They were trying to secure an NFL team in Dallas to go against the AFL team that was being formed as a rival league that also called themselves the Texans. On January 28, 1960, the NFL granted Murkison and his partners the 13th NFL franchise. They wanted him to start in 1961 with the 14th NFL franchise, which was the Minnesota Vikings. Murkison argued that giving the AFL a head start of a year would doom his chances for team success, and elected that he wanted to start the team in 1960. Because the NFL draft had already happened, they were the only expansion team in NFL history not to have the benefit of the NFL draft to build their first team. They were allowed to use 2 future draft picks on Don Meredith and Don Perkins. They later owed the teams that drafted them for the 1960 draft equal compensation for them. Meredith and Perkins' original contracts were with the Dallas Rangers. That was the name of the team, the Dallas Rangers, not the Dallas Cowboys. Bedford Wynn, a Texas Longhorn alumni, wanted them to be the Dallas Steers, thinking that Steers could be played against Longhorns. Tex Schramm and Tom Landry were also Texas Longhorn alumni, but they nixed the idea and they settled upon the Rangers. The expansion draft from existing NFL teams happened on March 13, 1960, and the Rangers were allowed to draft up to 3 players from each of the existing 12 NFL teams. And those 12 NFL teams froze 25 players, making 9 players available. Each time the Rangers selected a player from one of those teams, the team could then freeze another player from the remaining 8 or 7 down to however many were left. 6 days later, on March 19, 1960, the Rangers officially became the Dallas Cowboys, and the rest is history. The most fascinating history in all of the NFL, perhaps all of sports. That's just my opinion. Their colors were royal blue and white, just like the 1952 Dallas Texans that Clint Murchison was a fan of. In my opinion, the mascot named Cowboys was brilliant on many levels as their color scheme. The most popular color that people call their favorite color is blue. In 1960, the most popular actor was John Wayne, and he made mostly cowboy movies. Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and other popular TV shows were about cowboys. Johnny Cash, Marty Robbins, and others sang about cowboys. I mean, let's be honest. How many of you as youngsters played like you were an eagle or a lion or a sausage packer? But you played cowboys. Maybe you played pirates, which could be Raiders, but that was the AFL, not the NFL. But, pretend games. Having the little cat pistols, the little star badge, all that stuff was fun when you were a kid. And so, in my opinion, choosing the mascot name Cowboys was actually a brilliant move. The Cotton Bowl was the home of the 1952 Texans, and it was the home of the 1960 to 1962 AFL Dallas Texans and the NFL Dallas Cowboys from 1960 to 1971. The AFL Texans were immensely successful, infinitely more successful than the Cowboys were in the NFL in Dallas. They were 25-17 with the 1962 AFL Championship. The Cowboys in the same 3 seasons were 9-28-3. But the NFL was more popular with a 40-year established head start. The Texans moved to Kansas City in 1963 and became the Kansas City Chiefs. So the home of the original NFL Cowboys, the Kansas City Cowboys in 1925 and 1926 became the home of the displaced AFL Dallas Texans, and they became the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of ironic, isn't it? So let me share a couple things that I said are not in dispute and that are history and everything. I wanted to do this on Veterans Day, as I said. I'm wearing my Roger Staubach jersey because he was a veteran of the Vietnam War, as I said, and he was also a member of the Naval Academy. Um, but there's other honors that we could have on November 11th. Happy birthday to Bob Fry, an offensive tackle from 1960 to 64. Lynn Elliott, a kicker from 1992 to 1993. John Jett, a punter from 93 to 96. Tony Curtis, a tight end from 2006 to 2008. Mark Sanchez, backup quarterback in 2016. J. Ron Elliott, a linebacker in 2017. Kelvin Joseph, a cornerback from 2021 to 2022. Happy birthday today to Sam Baker, a punter from 1962 to 63. He also did some kicking for us. Jimmy Harris, a defensive back in 1961. Cliff Harris, a veteran from 1970 1979 in the Hall of Fame, along with Roger. Alois Blackwell, a running back from 78 to 79. And Alan Hearns, a wide receiver in 2018. And Mackenzie Alexander, a quarterback in 2022. So happy birthday to those famous Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to share with you information about Dallas Cowboys birthdays. If you want me to do entire weeks, let me know. But mostly, I will do happy birthdays on the days that that is their birthday, and I probably will post the others each day on at least on Twitter or X. But at any rate, I'm going to try and keep my videos short, sweet, to the point, and hopefully have some interesting facts for you, like perhaps the info about there originally being another team called the Cowboys, or that Clint Murchison tried to buy Washington to bring them to Dallas, and all of those things are hopefully things that you didn't know and were kind of fascinating. This team is fascinating. I have all kinds of information about them that I hope that you will find interesting, and that will be why you want to share these videos with your friends and family. Thanks. Enjoy the ride.